Hey, Stephen, how you doing? All right, looking at your written rationale here. Good job, really great job describing the thought process behind your design decisions. That's fantastic. And it's really super important. I mean, you're in the business, right? You understand how important it is to be able to communicate your intent to a creative director, an art director, or of course a client. So for a designer to design is not enough. We have got to have the ability to communicate our ideas to directors or clients. So I was pretty pleased to read that you've done a very effective job doing so. I mean, in the design world, you should be able to answer any question that possibly comes up regarding your work. So, for example, in a portfolio review situation or a portfolio review for a potential job, whether it be freelance or a full-time designer, whatever the situation is, questions are going to come up regarding your work, right? A very typical question that comes up in a portfolio review is, why did you use this typeface? I ask that question a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. I do it a lot of times. I do it as a sort of a test. And it's a question that is very relevant to the specificity of the design. It's also very relevant to me as a creative director to give me enough information about the person who did the design. So let me give you an example. If I'm sitting in an interview, let's say I'm going to hire an intern for a design job or even a designer in my firm, and I'm sitting down and I'm interviewing, I'm going through a portfolio, I'm looking at a piece and I say, that's an interesting typeface. What was the reasoning behind the use of that typeface? If the answer is I don't know, or if the designer looks puzzled by the question and it's obvious there is no answer, interview is basically over. I mean, I don't say, okay, that's it, we're done. I just know at that point that there could probably be a more effective choice in terms of choosing personnel for the position. On the other hand, if I ask questions like, can you describe why you use this typeface? And the designer comes up without hesitation, tells me exactly why they use the typeface, why it's relevant to the design, why it's relevant to the project. Beautiful. Then I move on to the next question. Why did you decide to use this color? Or why did you align this the way it is? And what I'm looking for is answers. And I'm not looking for answers like, I really like blue. You know this, right? So to hear you through your writing have really made plans for a lot of these things. You're thinking about things. And I couldn't really ask for more at this point in the conceptual development stage. So fantastic job on your written rationale. Let's take a look at the Minotaur Publishing merger concept. I think it's good. I think it's a good play. I think right now the one thing I'm seeing is this, and you'll see this because I'm going to recommend removing that line of demarcation, as it were, and I'll get into the reasons why. Quite often we do see a lot of variants on the same typeface where we show one word in a two-word word mark. We have one word in a super bold or a black style of a typeface, and then the other in an ultra thin or a light version of the same typeface. And that visual juxtaposition creates a lot of visual meaning. And in this case, I think would be perfect for this merger concept where you're pulling two together to create one that's stronger than either one on its own. So good play, man, good play. Right now, I think I don't see enough variation. In other words, I'd like to see this a little thicker and this a little thinner so that it really, really looks like very, very apparent as opposed to, and I'm not saying it looks like a mistake, but the less obvious design decisions are like this, using a light face and a darker, heavier face, it can look like a mistake if it's not really done deliberately. Okay, so for that reason, I would consider experimenting with a super light face for publishing, and then maybe a black or a bolder face for Minotaur. Now, I'm going to do something here, and as a designer, I'm not sure if you use this technique. I've been using it for years, and I always recommend students do this. Print out your work, get a look at it in as many different ways as you can. Always print it out because you'll see things on paper you'll never see on screen. But while on screen, absolutely come in here and I'm going to go to my view, and I'm going to rotate my view. Okay, so we can see some relationships here that we couldn't see before, right? So I always do this. I always recommend students turn things upside down. Take a look at your kerning. Take a look at some of the spatial relationships and the optical relationships that are present in that particular view. Then turn it 3/4. Then go back. Print it out, place it on the wall, walk across the room, all the way across the room, see what it looks like. Turn it upside down, put it on the floor, see what it looks like. A lot of little tests like that will show you and tell you things about your work that you may not otherwise see. Another one of the things I do is this. In a PDF version, I just come in here and I zoom way out. This is what I was getting at before with this line of demarcation, this kind of thick, bold line separating the two. I don't think we need it. Matter of fact, I think you can push that P right up next to the R with no kerning between. And I think that that is going to really reinforce this kind of merger concept where two come together to make one stronger, but it's not separating the words. There will be a separation. The viewer will definitely see a separation, but there won't be a space because the separation is based on the variation of the weight of the two different words. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little bit more and we can see how that little center line there gets a little problematic. See what I'm saying? I don't think we need it. I really don't. And okay, so let me know what you think. If you agree with my reasoning, consider that and make your appropriate changes. If you disagree, if you feel it's needed, by all means keep it. Looking at your kerning here, I think your kerning could probably be tight, a little bit tighter. Right now we got a little bit too much space, especially between that curve and that straight right there. I would close down the kerning on that or the tracking, whichever way you want to approach it. And also in publishing, I think that there's a big gap between the P and the U. Big gap. Almost looks like a P and then publishing. See what I'm saying? And I'm overemphasizing that, of course, but just trying to make a point. Yeah, I think you said something about, let me see, I just want to take a quick look at something. I think you said something about the vertical stems. Okay, I'm going to find that. Hold on one second. I'm not going to make you sit here while I'm just going to put this on hold for 1 second. I used shorter stems on the lowercase letters to give strength to the caps and had the dots above the eyes remain high to add some visual interest to create a lot of higher intellect education. Okay, I'm not so sure I agree with that. Let's go ahead and take a look. So you're talking about reducing the vertical stems, right? Am I understanding you and saying that the B, the ascender for the B, the L, and the H have been reduced? And if so, I think that's a mistake. I'm not real sure. Boy, it's tough to say, but I'm guessing that what you mean is you've reduced the vertical stroke, the length of the vertical stroke on the lowercase b, the L, and the lowercase h. Okay, and again, I just think that's a mistake. I think that these letter forms are designed as such to put emphasis where emphasis belongs, specifically and including the relationship between uppercase and lowercase letters. So again, I would hesitate on that decision right there. Okay, great job, man. Hey, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. Thank you very much.